All right, our news here says expert to XRP investors. This is your best chance to buy cheap. And here's what is coming. All right, if you open your portfolio apps right now, you are probably seeing a sea of red candles. It feels like every time we try to establish a solid footing, the market pulls the rug just a little bit more. Retail investors are sweating, panic is spreading in social media, and people are starting to question why they are even holding digital assets in the first place. But while the average trader is panicking over these short term price drops, the real experts are looking at this market with a completely different lens. A very prominent crypto analyst and commentator, ex finance bull, right here, just put out a massive post on X that is sending shockwaves through the community. So here it is. He didn't just say stay calm. He explicitly argued that investors are completely missing the bigger picture. In his exact words, this current period of red candles is actually your best chance to buy cheap before a massive wave of demand hits the market later this year. So in this video, we are diving deep into the specific call to action. We are going to look at why market sentiment is lying to you, what major institutional developments are hiding right around the corner for this year of 2026, and how the timing of this market is setting up a classic transfer of wealth. So settle in, get your mindset right, and let's break down exactly what is coming. So let's start with our very first question about why are traders fearing red candles when the future is bright. All right, X-Finance Bull right here pointed out something that almost every retail trader gets wrong. When prices are pumping and hitting all-time highs, everyone wants to buy. But when prices drop and give you a massive discount, people freeze up and get terrified of the red candles. In my own personal opinion, it blows my mind how human psychology works in this game. If your favorite smartphone or shoes went on a 30% or 40% sale, you would run to the store to buy them. But when a highly valuable digital utility asset like XRP goes on sale, people treat it like a toxic, hazardous waste dump. Right? People treat it like a toxic, hazardous waste dump. My take on this is simple. The red candles are not a sign of death. They are the market clearing out the impatient leverage traders. As long as long-term spot holders and strategic accumulators, we should be cheering for these moments because it gives us a pristine opportunity to lower our average cost before the actual utility demand kicks in. X Finance Bull right here asked a very powerful question in his post. He asked, why are people worrying about temporary daily drops when we already know that major bullish catalyst announcements are locked in for the latter half of 2026? He notes that the disconnect between short-term fear and long-term institutional reality is creating a massive value gap. If you can control your emotions while everyone else is losing theirs, you win the game. Right? So, does the market always pre-react before the big announcement drop? As soon as X-Finance Bull posted his thoughts, a fascinating debate erupted in the comments section on X. A well-known user named 8lens, right? 8lens pushed back a little bit on the timing. He argued that catalyst and actual price action rarely move in a perfect, clean line. He stated that markets usually pre-react, meaning that by the time an official partnership or regulatory announcement is made public, the smart money has already bought. The price has already pumped, and traders who waited for the official news are left holding the bag. So in my personal opinion, I think 8lens right here makes an incredibly sharp point, and it is something every single one of us needs to understand. If you are waiting for the day when the news encore on TV says XRP is now officially processing all global cross-border settlements, the price will not be cheap anymore. The market buys the rumor and sells the fact. So what I can say is that the accumulation phase happens in the dark during the boring, painful sideways grinds. If you are going to wait for the green candle to validate your thesis, you are already too late. You are essentially volunteering to be the exit liquidity for the institutions who bought during the red days. X-Finance Bull actually responded directly to this and acknowledging that timing in the crypto space is never clean. All right, let's highlight that part. So again, X-Finance Bull acknowledge that timing in the crypto space is never clean, but he brought up a counter question that every investor needs to ask themselves. Would you rather be early and sit through a little bit of boring sideways volatility, or would you prefer to be chasing the pump later when the FOMO kicks in? To me, being early is uncomfortable, but chasing is financially dangerous. So, our next question is, why is institutional adoption the ultimate anchor for XRP's value? During the debate, another community member named Joshua. So Joshua, let's just highlight this part. All right. Another community member named Joshua right here brought the conversation back to the absolute core of the asset, and that's about institutional adoption. He brought up previous landmark comments made by Ripple's president Monica Long regarding the scale of infrastructure being built behind the scenes. So in my own opinion, let's be entirely real for a second. Meme coins pump on hype, but utility assets live and die by their actual adoption. The reason I don't lose sleep over short-term market correction is because the underlying infrastructure of the XRP ledger is expanding every single month. When you look at what Monica Long has consistently pointed out, the expanding blockchain utility, the enterprise payment corridors, the real-world asset tokenization, you realize that this is not a speculative science project anymore. It is an institutional rail. So my personal view is that we are transitioning out of the retail speculation era and entering the commercial utility era. The token is being positioned as a global settlement necessity, and that type of demand doesn't care about social media hype. We have another user here, and right here, let's highlight this part. This other user is using a name Ripple Aura. So Ripple Aura chime in with the golden rule of investing. That's the strongest and most life-changing opportunities always emerge during periods of deep skepticism, never during periods of wild optimism. When everyone is high-fiving each other on forums, the top is usually in. When people are complaining and giving up, the floor is usually being established. So, the next question is the growing skepticism a sign of a final market shakeout? Now, to be completely fair and unbiased, not everyone was cheering X-Finance Bull's post. A user named Nico, right? Let's just highlight this part. A user named Nico right here expressed a lot of frustration that I know a lot of retail holders are feeling right now. Nico said he is completely tired of hearing about future developments and bullish catalysts that have been talked about for over a year while the price continues to face heavy downward pressure. He stated that investors are done with speculation. They want to see tangible price performance right now. In my own personal opinion, I completely understand where Nico is coming from, and I genuinely validate that frustration. It is exhausting to hold an asset that feels like it is lagging while other parts of the market are moving. But you have to ask yourself, why is the price facing this heavy pressure? It is because the largest financial institutions are still setting up their regulatory custody frameworks. This extreme boredom and frustration is a classic shakeup. The market intentionally tests your patience to see if it can force you to sell your bag right before the actual expansion occurs. So, in my own personal experience, the darkest hour is always just before the dawn. The fact that retail skepticism is at an all-time high is actually a massive contra-indicator that the bottom is close. Right? So, our next question is, what is the smartest way to position ourselves for what is coming? X-Finance Bull's ultimate conclusion is that confidence remains absolutely bulletproof. It's absolutely bulletproof among the people who actually understand the underlying technology and macro structure. So, my final verdict is, do not let your emotions dictate your financial future. If you believe in the institutional utility of the asset, then a lower price is a gift, not a curse. So stop staring at the 5-minute charts and stop stressing over every single red day. The upcoming demand drivers later. The upcoming demand drivers later this year are institutional, global, and highly structural. So use this period of retail frustration to calmly accumulate if you can. Protect your peace of mind and let the market structure do its job. The smart money is buying the fear, so make sure you are not the one selling it to them. All right? So this ends our video. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next one.